Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's all a build-up to Edo 2020. We're taking a look at developments distorting electioneering, because over the week, talking about last week, so many things been going on in Edo State. So many things are like unfolding in Edo State, and pundits have been talking about it. Edo State was and still is in the eyes of everyone outside Edo, outside Nigeria, globally. Edo State is becoming a phenomenon because of what transpired last week. And people are saying that more things will unfold. We don't know what it's going to be, whether positive or negative, but our own intention is to talk about it and how it's going to affect the outcome of the election. With me here in the studio is a political analyst and, of course, an entrepreneur. Join me to welcome Honorable Nathaniel Osamede. Welcome to TMI Sunday's edition.
Thank you very much, Wilson. It's a pleasure to be here with you again.
All right. And sitting very close to Honorable Nathaniel Osamede, he is a political analyst, public affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Michael Osamodiame. Michael, welcome to TMI Sunday's edition.
Thank you very much, my brother.
All right.
Good morning.
Okay, we are going to start off this discussion with what transpired over the week. We're going to start off with interference. You're going to you heard some persons mentioning names that they should stay clear of Edo politics. You get to hear also one top personality in Nigeria giving police protection to the 17 lawmakers, begging your pardon, and that also has been classified as interfering with Edo State politics. Let's start off from that angle. Nathaniel, what do you feel about this?
Well, there will always be interference. There will continue to be interference, especially when it comes to controversies, disagreement, quarrels. There will be interference. What we have seen absent in the build-up to this election is the lack of interference at the right time. And even some of these interferences were not emphatic enough. At the time, I was wondering who is actually the umpire, who is supposed to be able to bring about peace, who is the last arbiter in some of these controversies that we have witnessed over time in Edo State. At the time, I was saying, why are the traditional rulers keeping quiet? Where are the prominent Edo citizens that we respect? Why are they not wading into this issue? Why are they allowing it to fester to the point of where we have found ourselves today, which is very, very unfortunate? Because those who were supposed to speak did not speak. When the law is not upheld in any society, anarchy prevails. Chaos prevails. Disruption of the peace. Confusion. Impunity becomes the order of the day. These are some of the things we have witnessed in the politics of Edo State. When you see Malami's interference, that is the Attorney General of the Federation. Maybe he interfered from the perspective of law. And then the Inspector General of Police saying 17 members of the Speaker should be given police protection. Probably from the perspective of the police. In all of these interferences, are they constitutional? If they are not constitutional, are they morally acceptable? If they are not morally acceptable, are they politically acceptable? Is the interference proper or improper? If these interferences does not come, what will be the outcome of the prevailing situation? So the question of interference, both ways. Interference could be negative, it could be positive. But from the two inferences we are looking at, or references we are looking into, you find that Malame speaking as Attorney General, was he biased? Did he speak from the perspective of law? If he didn't speak from the perspective of law, was his interference necessary so as to nip in the bud circumstances that might go beyond the control of government. The Inspector General of Police, you are talking about providing security for 17 in a house of 24 members. By the time you subtract 17, what remains? If the majority are not protected, what is the guarantee that there will be security for the minority? So these are the situations. As far as I'm concerned, I see that interference is necessary. The political impasse, the quagmire we find ourselves in Edo State today, if those who interfered were listened to, if interference was strong enough, if interference was, how would I say it, powerful enough, if interference had any influence, we will not be where we are today in Edo State.
Okay,
I look at it.
I will come back to you. Now, Michael, from what is it, they said interference is, you can take a look at it from both perspectives, okay, the positive or negative. Talked about also the 17 lawmakers being protected, that they deserve protection. If the majority is not protected, what is the hope of the minority? Do you share his views and opinions?
Well, thank you very much. Actually, I would quite disagree with my dear brother here when he said interference is necessary. The truth of the matter is that we must, first of all, identify that this is a state, and the sovereignty of a state must be well protected. Interference, that is why you have separation of powers. You have the executive, you have the judiciary, you have the legislature. Now, in a situation whereby one of these arms interferes in the affairs of the other arm, there will be conflict. And when there's a conflict, there's anarchy. And when there's anarchy, there's an imbalance in power. Coming back to the home, you see that a quarrel between a husband and a wife is supposed to remain between them. Bringing third parties usually spoil marriages. I'm not a marriage counselor anyway, but at least I can tell you that. The interference of external sources or external forces or external influences in the affairs of Edo State is what brought us to this point we are in today. Let me digress. You see, my brother asked some questions which I'm going to answer. The actions of the Attorney General of the Federation, Justice Malami, is it constitutional? Is it lawful? Is it right? Was the interference timely? Protecting the majority and others. I will answer the first question. Is it lawful? Capital letter, no, it is not lawful. And we are surprised as a people that an Attorney General, a person of the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, who is supposed to, or presumably supposed to know the law, expressly could write a letter to the Inspector General of Police instructing him to provide security to the 17 elect lawmakers who were elected and who were not inaugurated. Now, he was supposed to be aware that that matter was brought to the court, Federal High Court Abuja, which gave ruling that the lawmakers that were inaugurated within the ambit of the law. A governor can only issue a proclamation once. If a governor issues proclamation twice, then they become two houses, and that is a replica. Now, once the governor issued proclamation, then the duty of the clerk is to call the house members and say, come, or elect at that point, and say, come, members elect, come for inauguration. It is when they're inaugurated that can now be called members. I don't know if you understand now. Okay, so now look at it now. Malami coming to tell the police to provide security for the members elect when actually the court has already decided on that issue. That is sub judice. Are
you now saying that these persons don't deserve police protection, even if it's their right as a citizen to protect them?
We're coming there. First of all, the first right of an individual, the first thing that a government, as a government, the first primary responsibility of every government is to protect the lives and property of the citizens. But that is on a general perspective. Now, it is very clear in the law. The people who need police protection are first the governor, his deputy and his family, then the Speaker, House of Assembly, and then his deputy, and no other. Okay? So now, Malami asking the Inspector General of Police to provide security for 17 elected members to come into the house to perform a business in the house is illegal.
Okay, I will come back to you, Michael. Well, he stopped with a very strong statement saying that what was done is illegal, providing police protection for the 17 lawmakers that were not inaugurated, but though they were elected, that it's illegal. How do you feel about his own opinion?
Well, as we speak, I'm aware that the tenure of these elected members has not expired. I'm equally aware that no court of competent jurisdictions in the land has declared the seat of these honorable members vacant. We are where we are today because of interference. His opening gambit was separation of power. And because there was separation of power, there should be no interference, probably in the business of another person. How did we get into a problem with the House of Assembly? Because there was a negative interference by the governor of the state, who decided to swear in not the 24 members, but 10 members out of the 24 that were duly elected by their constituency. And as we speak, INEC has not declared their seats vacant. No court of competent jurisdiction has declared their seat vacant. And the Constitution, which brought in these people, by that Constitution, their tenure of 4 years has not expired. So when you talk about interference, and you are blaming Malami for interfering, who is the chief national law officer, #1 in the country, who knows the Constitution and should uphold the Constitution. He is saying this should be done. And you see it as interference on the negative side. But you did not see the selective swearing in of members of this same House of Assembly as selected as interference by the executive, going by the principles of separation of power, which you started with. So, to me, I do not agree with his position, because tracing what has happened and where we are today, if you do not protect 17 members out of a House of 24, what is the moral, political, social, legal justification for providing security or whatever kind of protection to 5 members or 7 who are under the shield of the governor of the state? In an ideal situation, the business of the legislature is supposed to be purely for the legislator. And the legislature is supposed to be constituted by the members. What would have been done ab initio is what has taken place. When the majority now decided to come together and do the needful so that the business of the House can continue. How do you explain a situation where, is it 5 members that will be making laws for those state government? You say from 24th state constituency?
All right, just hold on.
I think it is abnormal.
Okay, now
to be out of place.
Now you heard him. He talked about the executive in Edo State. They started with the interference by selectively.
Yes.
You understand?
I can't
few
disagree
persons.
with that, because the governor is the executive, is the head of the executive. When the governor has issued a proclamation, it is not the business of the governor to know how many of them were present for the swearing in. If the governor issues the proclamation letter, he goes about his separate business. That is the only responsibility the governor owes the House. After that, the governor hands off from the activities of the House. The House becomes independent of itself, able to run itself. Now, when that is done, the proclamation letter has been released, then the clerk, it is the duty of the clerk to now call the members, of whom they were communicated to. So if 1 or 2 persons now said no, because this state working committee of the party, the APC, actually chose the principal officers, of which that is not the responsibility of the governor. So if they chose the principal officers and say that this is who we want to be speaker, this is who we want to be deputy speaker, this is how you do it when you get to the floor, then, and they do it, and then some members are aggrieved because it did not favor them, and they decide not to attend the inauguration, then they have selectively removed themselves from being inaugurated. Now, let me add, please, because my brother made a statement here that have their tenure expired, have this, that. The truth of the matter is this: the law is very expressly clear on this, that any member that fails to sit over 180 days, the seat should be declared vacant. And that the Speaker House of Assembly, Frank Okiye, acted in line with the Constitution when he declared the seats of these members vacant on the 14th of December 2019. He acted within the ambit of the Constitution. Now, look at it now. Finally, you see that the Attorney General of the Federation, the duty of the Attorney General of the Federation is not to counter the order of a court. Federal High Court, Port Harcourt, said that the inauguration was done within the ambits of the law. Of which, when these seats were vacant, when they declared this seat vacant within the ambits of the law, these lawmakers went to court, Federal High Court Abuja, and challenged it. As I'm talking to you now, that matter is still pending. The determination has not been determined. The court has not determined the matter yet. And it is very, 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 very wrong for anybody to enter that matter and decide that matter. Not even the Attorney General of the Federation, when the court has not yet determined that matter.
Over to you, Nathaniel. You wanted to respond? He talked about a breach in Constitution because he mentioned Constitution severally while he was analyzing, saying that this is like a breach, a total break in what the Constitution stipulates.
Yes, if I'm sure I heard him right.
Yeah.
Maybe you heard him right also. It is not the business of the governor to interfere with the selection of principal officers in the legislature.
Because he has done his job of inaugurating.
Yes.
He wrote a proclamation and that was it.
Yes.
That's
Very
what he
good.
said.
Now, how the issue of the proclamation letter, is there any provision in the Constitution that says it cannot be written twice if the exigency arises? The Constitution is empty on that.
And we answer that.
The Constitution, as far as we all know, is empty on that. That a court said the governor has issued a proclamation letter, fine. He issued a proclamation letter for the House of Assembly to be inaugurated, and his business stops at that. But this same governor came around to say that those members who were not sworn in because they plan to impeach him. Open statements in the public domain when they were sworn in. That was why some of them were not sworn in. Remember before now, Chris Okabe.
When did he say that they plan to impeach him openly?
Yes, it's captured on some video.
Because people are saying these are just allegations. He never came out to say that.
Well, you might not be aware of that, but we are aware that that was what the government.
Because hold on, because now we don't want to base it on speculation right now.
Based on facts.
All right, so please continue.
Very good.
All right.
That statement, if you are not aware, I'm telling you, is in the public domain. That because they plan to impeach him, that was why. These honorable members were in the state. They were holding a press conference. And remember that a lawmaker had cried out to say before now that because of political differences, the governor has said he was not going to inaugurate him as part of the House of Assembly. And that is Chris Okabe. He even petitioned the Attorney General of Police.
The Inspector General. Hold on. He has the floor. He has the floor. Just hold on. You get to your turn. Please continue.
So, it means even before now, it was predetermined that not all of them will be inaugurated. And even look at the inauguration, which the whole world has condemned. At night, 9:30 p.m., and then some people for the first time wore bedroom slippers. It is because of the way they were rushed, some of them came out and said they were ordered into a vehicle at gunpoint. Their phones were confiscated. And they asked them to go to a bus and they were marched to the premises of the House of Assembly where they were forcefully inaugurated. And after that inauguration, 2 of them stepped down to say they cannot be a part of this sham. And that was the beginning of the crisis. The unfortunate thing is that, the judiciary has become a place where, an institution that is being badly influenced by politics and politicians.
All right.
And that is not supposed to be.
Okay.
So we have a situation which must be corrected. If the governor has issued a proclamation letter once, and the same governor, in his own wisdom, prevented some members from being inaugurated. And this member cried out. They were even crying out to say the governor should please issue a letter of proclamation so that they will be inaugurated as a house after every other houses in the country has been inaugurated.
Okay.
So they cried out. Okay. It was delayed with intentions. because of personal interest.
I will come back to you. Now, I know you have so much to say,
Yes.
Michael. You are going to react to what is being talking about. But in addition to what you want to say, I really want to take a look at this. Now, knowing fully that we have 17 members right now running a parallel assembly, House of Assembly, so to speak. Now, do you think is of effect without a proclamation?
Thank you very much. You see, as far as I'm concerned, that assembly is an illegal assembly. It's a gathering of witches and wizards.
Hold on now. Watch your statement. Nobody is a witch or wizard in that assembly. Please watch it. Watch it.
Now, why I said that is this, because we have laws guarding the land. A situation where the House members, if they were even House members, are not taking decisions within the chambers, the legislative chambers. Any decision taken outside the legislative chambers is null and void. It's just mere discussions. That is one. And I also think that we are not doing our maths correctly. Because I think I had a B3 in mathematics, at least, in my WAEC, and I did very well in my JAMB. 17 lawmakers are what you have been saying since. It's not true. It's not true. Because a lawmaker comes in effect as a lawmaker when he's being inaugurated by an elected official who is supposed to do the business of inauguration. And in this case, he's supposed to be the clerk. But who did that inauguration? A retired deputy clerk. Outside the House chambers, outside the presence of the symbol of authority of the people, and that is the legislative mace. So you look at it, you see that the inauguration was even done in somebody's parlor. Now, my brother was saying something just now. I have to quickly react to it. The governor did not say nobody should come and be inaugurated. No. The governor cannot issue proclamation twice, because if he issues 2 proclamations, that becomes 2 houses. Proclamation is issued once and for all. A king is not coronated twice. You cannot come and say, yes, we coronate you Obafemi Ahmed I, and then you come again and say, we coronate you Obafemi Ahmed II. You have created 2 personalities. And so that is the business of the governor. The governor cannot inaugurate 2 personalities. Once the governor issues a proclamation, and then some people deem fit that, hey, you said some people wore short knicker, and these were the people that were in that meeting. When they heard that inauguration was going on, they quickly ran. It's not as if they were forced. They quickly ran there to be inaugurated. And then once you are inaugurated, you become a full lawmaker. If you are not inaugurated, you are not a lawmaker, you are just a busybody.
Okay. All right. You just a busybody. Okay. Now, he is like saying that he did mathematics. At least he had good scores, and he said he still maintains that house is illegal. But right now, the house is running. Now, who do you think the people will listen to? Because it's all about the people right now, and all about the election. These people listening to this powerhouse.
The people will listen to the majority. There is a position of the law where it's possible we had A1 in mathematics, but we know in politics, mathematical politics is different from the normal politics. Yes. You remember the case of 12 to 3rd. Whether it is 12 states, what is the 2/3 of a state? And then by the time you divide the 2/3 of a state, and what of the human beings, what is the 2/3 of a human being? You remember when Awolowo went to court? That is logic. He's trying to be logical. You understand? So, by the time it becomes an absurdity, when you reduce to 1/3 of a nation, to 10 majority of 19 states, to the extent of wanting to disseminate human beings into 2/3, it becomes laughable. Now, the people will listen to the majority. Those 17 honorable members who are representing not less than 15
But he's saying that, but he said these are not members.
They are not members.
He said they are not members.
Why are they not members? Are you the one declaring them non-members?
Because
or is the law?
Hold on, Michael. He has the floor.
They are not being negotiated.
You are on the basis of speculation. You have not quoted any section of the Constitution that rendered their membership of a State House of Assembly null and void. Like I said,
Michael, do you mind, please?
like I said, no court of competent jurisdiction has made a pronouncement that these people, the speaker making that announcement was politically motivated. He was engineered. Another interference to make such a statement. So, and then for any reasonable, for any Edolite to say that 17 members are inconsequential, as determined from the legislature of the state of Edo, I think such opinion is not acceptable. Let me finish, please.
Michael, please.
You see, this is the problem. We will not listen to ourselves. We will not hear ourselves. We believe we have the solution. No other person can tell us what to do. Just because we are privileged to have one thing or the other. We won't listen to people. We are not ready to take the opinion of another man. The same issues we are having right now. How can an Edoma open his mouth to say that 17 members representing at least 15 local governments out of 18, they are not worthy to form, they are not fit to form a House of Assembly, just because of political maneuvering, just because of political interest, one person who has no authority under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is saying this. I asked, I said, which part of the Constitution, quote it for me, that says letter of proclamation cannot be issued twice? Remember the doctrine of necessity. They are forgetting this in the political history or annals of this country. When it becomes necessary, the doctrine of necessity will prevail. Necessity to avoid chaos. Necessity to avoid problems. Necessity to avoid a breakdown of the law and order.
But people are saying that this is even heating up the politics, causing total breakdown, fiasco.
They are saying that out of selfishness.
Okay, over to you, Michael.
Let me enter there. You see, it is not a matter of they are saying that out of selfishness. At least we are all in the Edo State, we are all in Benin City, and we can see how the political situation has become tense, especially when armed federal policemen came to barricade the House of Assembly to provide security for illegality. Now, are you saying that that is also a ruse, that is also a rumor? We are also aware that right now in Benin City, the political situation is so tense that if somebody is even shooting somebody now and killing the person, maybe that person is a cultist, you would think he's a policeman that has been sent from Abuja. Now let me come.
Well, that speculation is wrong.
No, because you see that they have flooded the state with federal police and they're intimidating people everywhere. Now let me come to the doctrine of necessity and the proclamation you are saying. You see, it's very clear. When you are a governor, you said something just now that the governor he refused to inaugurate this, to do that. It's not the business of the governor to inaugurate, it's the business of the House. Once the governor issues proclamation, the House will run this business. I will still repeat it again. Now, somebody came to meet the deputy governor, a former governor of this state, who was expelled as national chairman of APC, came to meet the governor, to meet the deputy governor, to say, come and be governor. Rally all the assembly members, House of Assembly members, and impeach the governor.
These are speculation. These are speculation, Michael, and we don't work with speculation.
A house that has not been inaugurated.
Wait, I'm coming. Speculation, Michael.
I'm coming. A house that has not been inaugurated. The house was inaugurated. It is the 14 members that were not inaugurated. Please let us get ourselves right. Immediately, the governor issues a proclamation, and there's a first sitting. Once the first sitting happens, if the members who were inaugurated are up to 2/3. Hello? If the members who were inaugurated are up to 2/3, in that simple arithmetic, then it becomes valid for them to sit. It becomes valid for them to sit. Now, you said something initially that the Attorney General of the Federation acted in line with the Constitution, and he had to step in to nip the crisis at the board.
I asked the question, did he act in line with the Constitution?
This is your second statement.
Did he act?
He did, that he had to step into the matter to nip the crisis at the board. But let me quickly add, please, just 1 minute.
1 minute.
You see, let's do things in a way that is befitting of democracy.
Okay.
The only democratic institution, the only democratic body is the legislature.
All right.
That involves the people. Now, once you truncate an already a smooth going legislative house, then that will say you have truncated the will of the people.
Thank you.
It is not accepted.
Thank you so much, Michael. That is your last line. It says to truncate legislative house, you've truncated the will of the people. Nathaniel, you have 1 minute.
Yes. You see, I want to bring my friend to reality.
Yes. In 1 minute.
If what has happened,
Yeah.
like those people were against it, there would have been spontaneous reaction.
There is.
But rather what you see is jubilation.
No, there is no jubilation.
Now, I did not, you see, he talked about, those are hired people to distract the people of Edo State, to create the ambience that there is no peace. And these are people who are sponsored by the police. Do not burn tires.
Federal police.
So you are distracting me. Let me continue. So you find that if the people who chose their representatives have not reacted against the actions of this representative, it means in order. When you say that it is only in the House of Assembly that the government, the business of legislature can be conducted, and your governor is coming out to say that the House of Assembly is being renovated, we saw in open glare how the mace, which is the symbol of authority, signifying the sanctity of that, was yanked off rudely.
All right.
With
all right.
force.
All right. Thank you.
If the House of Assembly is being renovated, the very five, which is the one government want to run this nation,
thank you.
Where will they sit?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate your wonderful analysis. Thank you so much. I believe that the police are here to maintain law,
to maintain peace, exactly.
To maintain peace. And of course, some persons are not happy with what is happening by having a parallel house. They are protesting, while some others, they are happy. So it's like different folks, different strokes. Let's get to hear from other analysts. Let's say their views and opinion on this particular discussion. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll be right back. Having a handshake, that is cool. That's cool.
Of course.
All right, we'll be right back. Do stay tuned.